Hello, everyone. Hello. Nice to see everyone. Hi. Welcome to tonight's meeting. Mr. Ongley, can you please call attendance?
I'm trying. Here we go. Joe Abdella, here. Vicky Salon, Stephanie Kolnick, Jesse Liebman, Angela Maciurulo, Alex McNaughton,
Here.
Justin Ongley here, Jen Pody,
Here.
Jane Sargent, Pete Tagley, Mary Weber, Christine Weidig.
Is she on? She was supposed to be on. I know that Debbie was supposed to send her the link. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Public comment. Is there anybody that wants to make a comment on the agenda items? Anybody? No? Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. Alex, I know you've already reviewed it and it looked good to you, correct? Great. Does there anybody else that reviewed the agenda? Is there anything you want to change or make edits to? Otherwise. We will move forward then. Adopt them. Thank you very much. Presentation, reflection on school opening and video. I do want to just say one thing. I did tell Ben this, but pictures were really magnificent again this year. The one picture with Kim Schramm and that little boy melted my heart. I just had to say. So just for my house, because I love it.
Van Allen could get a Pulitzer for sure. In a minute, we'll see Ben's wonderful video, and then we'll hear from our outstanding principals to talk a little bit about the opening week of school, and that's what this reflection is all about. And my thoughts are just to report on what I saw. I was able to get out to all our buildings, which was a treat. The first week of school and the first days of school. It's such a gift to be able to spend some time with the littles, which I haven't been able to do as much as a middle high school principal, and making sure rejuvenate you. The opening days of school, of course, are about belonging and kids feeling welcome and like they belong in school, and they're made to feel that way. And all over the district, I saw adults, our staff, our faculty, making that happen for kids. I saw teachers and staff out front welcoming kids in. I saw our ASOs giving a high five to every little tyke, and Andrew here welcoming every kid into the building. At Chapag, as usual, the red carpet was out so that kids get the sense the school is here for you. It's your school, and welcome back to it. And I think that sense of belonging goes along with the relationship building that we're going to focus on this year. And of course, belonging is partly about also safety, not just climate, but safety. And at the beginning of the year, we do take efforts to review our safety plans and our safety audits, and we'll be redoing that with our new SRO shortly. And our own people undertook training with teachers at the beginning of school to talk about our safety protocols, discuss our expectations with students and teachers, to answer questions, and to talk about the multiple ways that drills and safety enactments can be undertaken in the school. Teachers and staff across our buildings are looking at our strategic plan and the second year deliverables, and how to connect that to the work that we're doing and the improvement of our schools. And I saw a lot of that going on. Attendance was very good, near 100%. Across all the buildings, I saw a renewed interest again in developing relationships and working on our climate and our restorative practices. And so just a few particulars. When I got into the elementaries, I saw students doing what they call an initial hopes and dreams exercise that Emily could say more about probably than I can, but I was so moved by it because it wasn't just about good feelings, although there were plenty of those to be had. It was about the idea that we're going to help kids set goals and then work as a team to reach the goals that they select so they have some say in it. And when I walked around the elementaries, I would say to people, do you know who I am? To the littles. And I'm not, I have to tell you, I'm not as famous there as I hope to become in the coming weeks. But a few of them knew me and I would say, how do you know me? And they'd say, oh, because my brother or sister goes to Chippewa or that kind of thing. But my favorite response, one little fella says, I know you. You're the guy who can call a snow day. And I said, that's true. I hope I don't mess that up. And then I said, what if I took a video of this class singing and posted that when there's a snow day? And they liked that idea. And then I thought, why don't I take a video of the board singing and dancing that I could post? Okay, we'll come back to that some other time. That thought. And then when I was visiting Chippewa, I saw teachers setting up routines. I saw them getting into the idea of building better relationships, stronger relationships, welcoming students. I saw classes getting ready to draft their respect agreements, and I saw just teachers doubling down on making kids again feel welcome. So across all of our buildings, I felt it was a privilege to be there visiting. I felt that our students were made to feel welcome, and I'm glad to be part of that team. Now, I would like to turn it over to the real highlights of this moment. We're going to have a great video from Ben, and then we're going to hear from our principals. Thank you.
Done, Ben. Principal highlights.
All right. Well, welcome back to new school year. Emily and I are so excited that the first few weeks started off as smoothly as they did. Lots of smiles, very little tears, except maybe for Reach. So when we go into our first slide, Ben, as Dr. Shells had stated, we start off with a lot on restorative practices. As a whole district, we were very lucky enough to have some presenters and consultants from EdAdvance come to talk to the Region 12 staff, focusing on the why and the what of restorative practices. The key takeaway was that building positive relationships in school climate has a powerful impact on student success. After that, on one of the professional development days, our Emily and I went back to our designated schools with our own staff, and we did a lot of hands-on activities focusing on restorative practice and just ways in which they can build those practices within the building. And this was done with all staff, not just teachers. Our literacy tutors, paras, educational assistants, everyone was involved in it. And it really focused on school culture and climate and principles and strategies of restorative practices. And this already builds upon what we already have in place within our schools, which is our responsive classroom approach and second step, which is our one of our social emotional programs that we use within school. Opening day was wonderful. It's always great to have our students coming in the door, a little nervous, but usually filled with excitement. We were very lucky to have an administrator at each building. Thank you, Dr. Shells, for being at Burnham that morning so I could be at Booth. Teachers welcomed their students and classes with warmth and care, intentionally setting a positive climate within their classrooms that really focused on fostering strong relationships, especially in the first few days of school, collaboration, and building a sense of belonging. This was done through a responsive classroom approach, which emphasized building community, establishing routines, and creating a supportive environment. And this is where Dr. Shells was speaking about setting hopes and dreams for each student. And this really helps them feel safe, respected, and ready to learn.
The next slide is sharing several pieces that we are going to continue to hone in on. The first one is the American Reading Company. We're going to be continuing to refine the implementation of the core program and small group instruction. We're going to be really expanding the utilization of SchoolPace, which is the online platform for ARC, and it will continue to allow the teachers to enter progress with fidelity on each student. We're also going to be looking at writing, and we're going to be aligning explicit instruction with the ARC resources. Eureka is going to take a little bit of a front and center. We're going to be having some professional development this year, K-5, just to really revisit Eureka and strengthen our instruction in that area. And then Link It, as you know, is our data collection system. And we're going to be utilizing that with greater efficiency to monitor progress and to really guide instructional decisions. And then on the horizon, we have a few things. We're going to be expanding the work of Ron Berger, Leaders of Their Own Learning, and we're going to be focusing on strategies of models, critiques, and descriptive feedback. In addition, we're going to be looking at Link It Intervention Manager. That is a part of Link It, and it's going to be online forms and also the process to enhance our student success team. So really looking forward to that. And then also we're going to be doing training and implementation of the M-Class DIBELS, which is a digital platform for the DIBELS that we're already using. So that's our universal screening and progress monitoring for K-5. And that's it for us. Are there any questions or comments? Good, awesome. Thank you so much.
I think, Ben, we're still on those subsequent slides, the next ones, yeah. So my name is Mike Croft. I'm the assistant principal here at Chippewa, and I'm standing in for Sylvia Olette, who is under the weather and regrets very much that she can't be here. So please accept her regret in that way. It's sincere for sure. So I'm going to speak a little bit about not only the start of school with students, but also the start of school with staff and faculty, which is reflected in some of these photos and bullets. But the photos that you see here are of the first day at Chippewa, and I think they reflect a lot of what Dr. Shells and Dr. Rue and Mrs. Judd spoke about in terms of starting the school year with a foundation of community and relationships. And I think you can see that in these photos. And if you go to the next slide there, the reason that this slide is here is because Mrs. Olette started with staff with this photo, and with sixth graders with this photo, and with ninth graders with this photo. And I think her message was, I'm new to you, but I'm not new to Chippewa, and the people I'm working with, I'm not new to them. So she, you can see that she's circled herself there, and me and Mr. Parachi, and that there's some other folks who are also in that photo from 2004. And if it were a middle high school photo from 2004, there would be still more colleagues in that photo. So that was Mrs. Olet's way of saying, don't worry for me. I'm not new and we're not new to each other. And so she used this to speak to some of the focus areas for the year. And those include, as in the district as a whole, applying the concepts of leaders of their own learning, specifically models, critiques, and descriptive feedback is one of the real focus areas that our staff, there's a handful that they can choose from, but that's one of the ones that a lot of folks are going to look at is not necessarily telling students this is what a good job is, but showing them, hey, this thing here, is this a good example of what we're aiming for and why, and unpacking the characteristics of quality. And if students can do that, then they understand quality and they can pursue it from a point of understanding. And in addition, we'll continue to focus with faculty on developing engaging lessons, including project-based learning. Just today, Millie Perry and Brian Hagenbach, lead volunteer and executive director of the Steep Rock Association, met with the sixth graders in this room and said to them, we've got a job for you. We want you to create a booklet that will highlight the 100th anniversary of Steep Rock and the 6 beautiful trails of the Hidden Valley Preserve, and we'll get families and young people and their parents interested in visiting the preserve. And that means that the students are working not because the teacher said so, but because there's an authentic purpose outside the classroom. In this case, they had an adult saying to them, our organization needs you. We want you to do this important work for us. So that's that's a small example of project-based learning, and it will continue in big and small ways. And Sylvia has been promoting that with the faculty. And you know, the message really is we want the students to be engaged for their own reasons in their own learning. We want the faculty to be driving their own learning and their own practice. And so that bottom bullet there that says learning from each other at classroom lab sites, reflects Mrs. Olet's desire to continue Dr. Shell's initiative, which is called Lab Sites, which is maybe a fancy way of saying that we're going to get teachers into each other's classrooms, watch them work, have the teachers who are being observed say, hey, can you help me with this? I would like you to come into my classroom and tell me what you see, and have the teachers who go in and observe, have them take back what they glean from their colleagues to their own practice. So there are some themes there, and I think the number one is that everybody's leaned into their own learning. I'll speak just to the next slide here for a moment. A little bit of the work ahead for Chippewa is continuing to understand and begin to implement in our work the vision of a learner, which the board's familiar with, and Ms. Snowden will be continuing to work with all of us on. We're also preparing for our NEASC collaborative visit. The NEASC, New England Association of Schools and Colleges, accredits the high school portion of Chippewa, and we have a visit in early December that sets the stage for the larger visit coming in the following school year. And so we've already done a lot of reflection and writing and discussion as a faculty, and we will do even more before and after the December visit by the NEASC team. And we'll be continuing to dig into restorative practices even more deeply. You know, we have been implementing those ideas by starting from a foundation of community in the classroom and valuing and establishing relationships first and foremost. And we also are prepared for when things go awry, when things aren't right between members of our community. We're going to be sure to educate. We're going to be sure to reconcile, and when needed, we're going to be sure to reinforce boundaries and expectations through consequences. But one example of that is Mrs. Olet drafting a restorative justice matrix, restorative discipline matrix that has been implemented introduced to faculty and lays out, if this sort of problem happens in the classroom, this is the kind of response we're going to have. If this sort of problem happens in the classroom, this is the kind of response we're going to have. She's gotten feedback from the faculty, has made adjustments to the document and the processes that she's putting in place, and we'll be sharing that shortly with the board and also with students and families soon. So those are some of the focus areas that we've had at Chapag. We hope that we hope and believe that the students feel a deliberate approach to helping them feel comfortable and supported, and also then from there challenged. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, moving on to reports and recognition, I guess next. I don't have a lot to report. I did meet with Ben this week, and we will continue the conversation. I will meet with Don and Nicole later this week. But Ben and I met to brainstorm a little bit about what I had talked about in July, about ways to communicate with our community, I think more effectively. So I think through a little bit of brainstorming, obviously Ben was really helpful in help guiding my thoughts in a much more effective way, I think. And so what we've kind of pinpointed is creating maybe a monthly flyer that I think will kind of be like a news bulletin, so to speak, that we'll send out to the Region 12 community once we get the approval from Don, once we figure it out, a template, so to speak. And we'll, with the help of Don and maybe Carrie Snowden and a few others, we might plug in a few templates or a few, some little snippets of the board meetings that we've had for the month that we feel might be really helpful to our Region 12 community, that we think that they maybe would enjoy seeing. It could be celebratory, it could be educational, it could be something, whatever it may be, but I think might be just something to be helpful and useful for our communities to see. And it's not just our Region 12 families, but I want to send these out to the 3 towns as well for their Friday e-blasts. So we're working on a template to share those little snippets from the we're not going to use YouTube. So we're going to have possibly a page on the Region 12 website. So then we can store those little snippets there, so we can bring people to our Region 12 website a little bit more. And also to help guiding them to our schedule of the Board of Ed meetings, our committee meetings, our committee minutes, and our board minutes. Because I think that is very helpful. Certainly is for me. To learn about where the minutes are, because it's not always easy to find. So Ben and I were trying to figure out ways to maybe find an easier way to navigate that. So once Don and myself and Nicole sit down, maybe we'll kind of look at it too and see if we can find a little bit more user-friendly way of looking at that. And then lastly, I'm just laughing because Vicki just reminded me of something as I was thinking about the students coming back to school. She reminded me that I did have lunch with a few seniors earlier this week with Justin's son, Vicky's son, and then I think Kristen Donaldson's son as well, because the big seniors now get to go off campus and have lunch in the depot. And so I sat down with them just to chit chat with them, and it was really fun. And so it's those fun moments that I really love connecting with students. And so it just reminds me that school is back in session. And I love to just pick their brain a little bit and see what's going on and what they're doing. And it just really, and I enjoy very much sitting with them. And I don't want to say hanging with them, because I'm sure they don't want to necessarily hang with me as much, but I enjoy pretending as if, I'm one of them. But that's it. So I obviously encourage you all to come to the depot and maybe sit down with a few seniors during lunch and catching up with some of them, because they're pretty great kids. That's it for me. All the time. Hit or miss.
All right, excuse me, that all sounds great. And for the superintendent's report, the reflections that were most important to me on my mind tonight, I shared at the beginning of the evening, but I still do have to tell you about a few personnel matters, in this case, some resignations. So the resignations on this report are Wayne Kowalski, maintenance worker at Chippewa, effective August 25th. Tammy McInerney, building substitute at Chippewa. Brittany Oglesby, paraeducator at Washington Primary School, effective September 3rd. And Gabrielle Robinson, literacy tutor at Booth Free School, effective August 25th. Thank you.
A treasurer's report. Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to save my report and wrap it up with the F and O report in a few minutes.
Moving on to committee reports, agri-science, Mary?
There hasn't been a date yet set for the Agri-Science Committee meeting. But we will be discussing the Oversight Committee that is for the state, and the people that will be on it next year.
Thank you. Curriculum, Justin?
Tonight's meeting was postponed until October 6th, but I do want to take a quick second just to acknowledge all the hard work and dedication of the teachers over the summer who wrote curriculum, and we, as a committee, look forward to reading and hearing what they came up with.
Thank you, Jen. Ed Advance, Joe?
Our most recent Board of Directors meeting was this past Thursday, September 4th. During this meeting, the board approved a supplemental funding application for shortfall in their Head Start Prenatal to 5 program, which will help with nutritional access and breastfeeding support. Also approved was the authorization to give our executive director the power to contract the sale of Ed Advance's Workspace Connecticut sale, which they have an interest in ownership in, which is located in Bethel. Their closing for that sale is slated for November. They don't have an exact date yet. Also, Jonathan informed us that there is a state grant that will be funding the school-based mental health program that they have, which was possibly going to lose funding in December. This state funding will continue to keep those employees on for the rest of this school year. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Joe. Finance and operations, Alex?
Yes, Nicole Grant has reviewed the numbers with us. And while it's still early in the season, everything seems in line. There are 2 line items that I questioned that before I had a chance to question. Nicole answered them. Those were the 2 that she picked out. One line item, 122, had to do with salaries for the computer tech. And the other one, 534, had to do with our phone system. We're still battling with Frontier. It turns out when you in your home, you decide to cancel your phone company, you just call up and they cancel it within 24 hours, it's done. It seems in our situation, they have to send a person out. You have to make an appointment and they're way booked ahead. So we are still paying Frontier until they can get their butts out here and disconnect us. Don O'Leary went through the capital projects, but he did that here for us earlier, so I don't feel a need to go through those again. One other thing is one of the 2 other things is the District Repair and Improvement Project, better known as DRIP. It has been explained by Nicole, and Region 12 will receive $54,288 per year for the next 2 years from this grant. The final thing is the boilers in the Washington Primary. They were serviced again this year, and for the first time, they barely passed. Let me put it that way. We're now looking at replacing the 2 boilers. Just so you know, we have one boiler is a backup for the other one in case the other one goes out. We're gonna probably have to replace both of them. They've been there. They're long overdue their anticipated length of service. And so we're looking into that. And that is basically it, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Alex. Labor negotiation.
Nothing new to report. We haven't started.
Oh, can I just provide an update to Alex's report, please? We were successful in getting Frontier to come out and terminate, so that's taken care of. We were successful to get Frontier to come out and terminate, so that's taken care of. Yes.
Nice job. Thank you. Policy, Justin.
Nothing new. Our next meeting is September 22nd at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Strategic, nothing to report. I do want to just quickly say though, even though it has nothing to do with this, I wanted to just briefly talk about at our board retreat, which is on September 20th. We will be included in that retreat. We will be doing a board self-evaluation, which is going to be part of our superintendent eval as we work with Don, which we talked a little bit about at the end of last year. So be prepared to do some soul searching on the 20th, which I think is really helpful. I'm actually really excited about it because I think it's really important for us individually and collectively to decide how we are doing in our roles and how we want to move forward as a group and what our goals are. And then what we will do is on the 22nd, we will discuss at our board meeting what those goals are based on our self-evals, which I think is going to be very helpful. And then at our next meeting, we will have a session to talk about Don's goals as well. So it's all going to be part, we'll all share a lot, but I think it's helpful to Don that we are exploring ourselves as well as we're asking him to do the same. So I'm excited about that. Moving on. Old business, second read for policy 3541-312, transportation.
Yeah, I appreciated the board's attention to this last time. We had a lively discussion about it. And some of the questions you had, I took back to some of the people in the know. I'll report that and then the discussion can continue. I also invited Mr. Parachi tonight to add his expertise. And the last time we spoke, several board members, I think Alex, you were in this camp, were loath to tell parents that they couldn't take their kids at all, which I respected. And this is a way for us to make sure they can drive their kids without threatening any untoward liability towards us. Some board members asked, okay, but do the forms go far enough? Or are these the right forms or the best way to do it? Could it be just one form? Could the form be more restrictive? And I took all those questions back to our counsel. Nicole and I actually got on the phone with Tom Mooney, and in his expert opinion, he feels that if we want to do this, this is the way to do it with these particular forms. But then again, a few other members said, is it manageable? Is it a paperwork burden or difficulty, an administrative burden for coaches and the athletic director to manage? And I posed that question to Mr. Parachi, and he said it is not. I don't know, would the board like to hear from an insider on what the perspective of the coaches and the athletic director is on this? If so, I think it'd be good for him to say a few words. Yeah.
So
Got to go to the mic, Matt.
yeah, specific question. I'm talking this, sorry. I mean, it's not unmanageable for the coaches to use that form. They're managing this type of thing all the time anyways. It won't be hard at all. Coaches are always keeping track of who's going where and who's going, how different kids are getting home. And there hasn't been a single coach who is concerned that this is going to be too much of a additional burden on them. So I think that
whatever we come up with, if it ends up being the form that was proposed, we're ready to embrace that and launch it as soon as you guys give us the green light.
A question. I think when we discussed it last meeting, there was like a 24-hour and you had to get the form in 24 hours in advance. Is there going to be a way that you'll have blank forms so that if mom all of a sudden is available, she can sign it at the venue and take the child home that way?
So, I mean, I haven't discussed all those details with Don and Nicole or anyone, but the plan going forward, if you said to me right now, go with this form tomorrow, every single coach who travels with some kind of a folder or whatever would have a stack of those in their folder with a clipboard, with their attendance sheet, and all those forms are going to go out. It's going to be put on the website. It's going to go out to all the parents. So this is a long answer to me just saying yes. Yeah.
Okay,
The answer
yeah,
is
that was
yes
my
to the question.
concern.
Yeah. It will not be unmanageable. There's not a single coach who is even remotely concerned about managing that.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
So as most of you know, I'm one of those parents that goes to almost every single game or event that my child is in. I prefer to bring him home. I'm looking for the possibility of an option of the whole season that I'm bringing my child home from each game or event. And I'm assuming that there's multiple parents that are in the same camp where they're probably going to almost every single game and wanting to bring their child home from that. I understand that, yes, there's probably that one or two times where, yeah, I couldn't make it. So that's if there's a default situation where you just say, listen, I can't make it, he's going to ride the bus home. I'm just looking to simplify everybody's situation and not have to do a form for every single event and more in a seasonal aspect,
Sure.
if that makes sense.
It does, it does. And the first form is the master form that covers like a year or a season. The second one is by event and is a little bit more, does task people a little bit more. You know, I understand completely, Joe. And the problem again we're trying to fix is that we've got so many wonderful kids and parents from sending towns who are in that situation and they need some kind of accommodation. And we want them to have it with reasonable expedience. But the tension is we have to make sure that we limit our liability, which is, you know, part of my responsibility. So we did ask questions along those lines. Could the master form have a box? This covers the entire season, or it's only meant to cover event by event. And the contingencies involved, I mean, I won't drag you through the whole phone call, but having spoken to council, I do think that even though it's going to be slightly more annoying to have to fill out a form every time, we think that that's the way to do this and give people what they want, the ability to take their kids home from events without minimizing the risk to the board.
So is this still an electronic form or is it a paper form that we're going to have to hand in?
I think that's a detail to be worked out. I wouldn't be opposed to an electronic form if we knew that it had the same authenticity to it. And nowadays, as I reflect here, I know that people sign electronic documents all the time and they're considered to be as authentic as a hard copy. So I bet we could do that, but I can't promise that until I review it.
I'm just trying to cover each angle, right? Because there may be the possibility where, say, you would send the form saying I was going to pick my kid up, and then all of a sudden something happened, an emergency happened, and it's like, all right, I want to make sure that the coach gets this, and my kid rides the bus home instead, or rides the bus back to the school instead. So it's, you know,
Joe, in that case, we make him stay at the visiting school.
That's- okay. Thank you.
So when these little details get ironed out, how quickly will this take place? I mean, do we want this done tomorrow? I mean, is that the goal?
the past, parents are doing this.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, it's a stopgap. Not gonna stop that from happening, but even now, I've wanted to limit our liability. So as a stopgap measure, we've thought that this form is better than nothing.
Mhm.
Parents who are insistent on doing this because they have exigent circumstances, they've been signing the form now just so we have it. But if the board approves it and the policy, we could put it into effect very quickly, not instantaneously.
Vicky?
I know we have a couple of sports that are co-ops. So should we contact you or the head coach that's from another school?
You mean like with football?
Like for football, yeah.
I'll let Nicole or Don
Ever?
jump in here. I think,
Never mind. Hockey.
hockey, yeah,
Football
I mean,
coach has said that every kid will ride the bus back.
I'm sorry, Mr.
The
Bean.
football coach has told the team that every kid will ride the bus back from an away game. So
Yeah.
that's not an issue.
So, well, if you look at ice hockey,
Yeah.
since that's, we are the host school of that,
Okay.
we'll require whatever gets decided
Okay.
here, we're gonna require whether one of the ice hockey players is from Nonawag or Lakeview or from Chicago. We'll require them all to follow the same.
Okay. Thank you.
Stephanie?
So just to clarify, as it pertains to voting, are we voting on the form or are we just voting on the policy? Because like,
I
if they
think they're
need that to start.
Both,
for-
right? Because
Yeah.
isn't the policy part or the form is part of the policy?
The form is incorporated into the policy and referenced in the policy. So it's a package deal.
So we have games starting next week, so I'm assuming we need to have that.
Mm-hmm.
The game's going since last week too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
now.
Yeah, we need to vote now.
so would somebody like
Okay,
to
just.
make a motion? Microphone, please.
Which one is it?
Second read. F.
Our second read of policy 3541.312, transportation, private cars, common carrier and school district vehicles.
It's a motion to amend.
A motion to amend it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as indicated in the red line vision that you, to adopt the red line.
To adopt the red line version? So second,
Second.
we're no more discussion, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? It passes. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank the board for its consideration and also Ms. Grant for helping me understand some of the issues involved along with council and for Mr. Parachi and researching it and helping me understand how we could implement it here in our schools.
Thank you.
Don, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning about rolling it out.
Thank you. Okay, new business. So I'm going to read this report from me on my designation of a committee that I chose 3 people, myself, Angela, and Justin, one from each of the 3 towns, to hear an appeal regarding a non-renewal of an athletic coach in accordance with Personnel Policy 4116. So that's all I'm going to say. And that's it. So now I'd like to make a motion to go into an executive session. Can somebody make a motion? Stephanie, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I think we should just go into. Oh, can we invite Nicole? And Don? To approve for the superintendent to have discretion to approve funds and discretion for hire a private investigator to search for students residency for investigations of residency for students. No, just for his discretion of any students to verify their residency. Second? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Abstentions? It passed. Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you.